Love sports? Love culture? Well, I've got a brand new podcast called Take Line from Crooked Media, hosted by me, Jason Concepcion, and two-time WNBA champion Renee Montgomery. From the games to the players to the issues happening both on and off the court, we'll be tackling the important political and social issues happening in sports head on. New episodes drop every Tuesday, so follow and subscribe on radio.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your driver's license is important so you can get back and forth to work, get your kids to school, and back and forth to daycare. If your license has been suspended because you can't pay your tickets, you can't do any of those things. Let's talk about Chapter 13 bankruptcy. You may have heard that tickets cannot be discharged, but they can be dealt with in a Chapter 13 case. Why not come in for a free consultation? The chapter you choose will make all the difference to your getting back, legally, on the road. Let's design a plan to pay off your tickets and restore your license immediately. I'm attorney Travis Gagne. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, the Rock of Seattle. Is it bad to bring up? I mean, we don't have to mention names, but...
Oh, my God. Do you really want to go down that road?
Maybe not. All right, fine.
I don't know. I mean, go ahead, BJ.
Yeah. All right, here's the thing. We will get to this other story, but here's the thing. Okay, some people will put a GoFundMe out there saying, hey, please help because somebody needs money for their medical bills and basically to stay alive, right? So, you give the GoFundMe money. But then if the person passes away, then they don't need that money for medical bills anymore. Shouldn't they give me my money back?
Oh, Jesus.
No, I don't think that's unreasonable.
There are other costs now involved.
Well, no, the kind of money they needed were going to be a lot more than like just burial costs. Burial costs are going to be a fraction less than what they said they needed.
Listen, but we were in the room right before we started. I see an email and someone that we know, and both BJ and I was like, oh man, he passed away. And I was like, the real bummer. And BJ's response was, I just donated money. Do you think I could get that back?
Yeah.
And I honestly put my hands in my head and I was just like, I don't even know how to respond to that.
Wow.
Well, they don't need as much money to bury the guy. They only need...
They still have hospital bills and stuff. Like, dying is expensive.
It wasn't like he was going to use the money to go to a Mariners game.
No, they were going to use money for his long-term existence. That's what I was thinking. But now they don't need the long-term money because, he's not there anymore.
And now he's doubling down on it.
Well, I don't think it's unreasonable. I'd be glad to help out with burial costs, but they don't need nearly as much as what I thought they needed. That's why I gave them what I gave them, because I thought they needed a lot more than burial costs, because, the poor person was still going to...
Well, put a comment on the GoFundMe and say, hey, now that he's no longer with us, what is the exchange policy?
Yeah,
Do you get a refund?
Am I really a bad guy? Because I don't feel like a bad guy.
The last thing I would, honestly, bro, the last thing I would think of if I donated money to somebody passing away, somebody who was dealing with some issues, and then they pass away, the last thing that would come into my head, actually it wouldn't even be the last, it would never come into my head. I wouldn't be like, well, where's my money going to go now?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, let's just say your last, you're going to be, I would like to have a lifetime supply of candy bars, right?
Okay, I'm glad that we can turn this into a conversation about candy bars when someone just died.
Yeah, but I'm just, and I'm like, all right, Steve wants a lifetime supply of candy bars. I want to make that dream come true.
Right.
All of a sudden you get hit by a bus.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and say, look, you don't need that money for his candy bars anymore because he's not going to be, so how about you give me that money back?
A little bit different when you donated money to someone who was dealing with some medical issues that were not good, where his timeline didn't look all that certain.
But it was definitely like a lifetime, like it was more than just, if they had done a GoFundMe page for somebody who passed away and they needed burial costs, it would have been a lot less that I would have had to give, because...
You didn't have to give anything. You chose to give because you were doing something that
I was trying to help out.
Yeah,
but now they don't need all that.
Now they can have a nicer funeral, thanks to you.
No, they don't need all that. I was
all right,
thinking...
when you die, we're going to put you in a shoebox and throw you out back.
I was thinking this was a long-term, like a lot of years that they were going to need help. But they don't need that much help now. Because
how about you reach out to his family?
He doesn't need that many candy bars. He's gone.
Oh, this has nothing to do with candy bars.
I'm trying to be analogous.
It's a terrible analogy.
I feel like it almost is a good one.
No, it is not.
One person says, hey, I'm sorry for your loss, but I donated $20 to his GoFundMe, and that money was only valid if you live. So whatever I could get back, thanks.
Am I really a bad guy?
Yeah, but
I don't feel like it.
You're the worst.
You should definitely call them.
The worst. BJ, you are definitely that guy, King Douche.
Wow.
Yeah, give him his crown.
I mean, I don't understand.
I haven't done it. I'm asking my friends.
And your friends are saying you're nuts.
Well, okay. I mean, I'm going to have to go with it. Everybody's disagreeing with me, so I won't ask for it back.
Part of me does want you to reach out to them and say, hey.
And don't record it, please.
No,
sorry about your
that's
loss.
going to be bad. I don't want to be a bad guy. That's why I'm asking.
Why would you even think that you should get the money back?
Because I feel like I said.
It's not like he duped you.
No, it's just
He died.
they don't need that much money anymore.
Well, they actually probably need a lot of money to handle the funeral costs and burial and all that.
Well, that's what I know, but I know what that costs as opposed to what I was thinking would be needed for long term existence.
I understand that.
It's they don't need that much for burial because I unfortunately, because at my stage of life I know what it costs to bury people because I'm an old guy, and I know what it costs to live for decades with issues.
You realize that the costs of the hospitals and all the doctor stuff just doesn't magically disappear after they die.
No, but my donation was based on long term. Like, I felt like I was being commensurately generous with what I know they had to face.
I don't understand why you even gave him money. Like,
please
it's so weird.
Stop. Yeah, please never give me anything because I don't want to deal with the repercussions if something doesn't go your way.
You had like a weird thing in your head.
Yeah, because that's fair. It's like if Rev comes to me, like I said, if he said, look, I want a lifetime supply of candy bars, I go, all right, I'll make that happen. But if you're gone, I'm going to go to your wife and go, look, I got news for you. I mean, he's not going to have all those candy bars anymore, and you don't like those candy bars, so what do you say?
BJ, you're not wrong. You're just from a generation that uses common sense.
Thank you.
Shut up, Texter.
Thank you very much.
Like, you and the Texter can go live on an island together.
No, the Texter says, create a GoFundMe to get BJ's money back. We should do that. Yeah. Hey, I donated money to a good cause.
I know you're making fun of me, but I don't feel like a bad guy. I feel like, but if they don't need as much money as I gave them, I could take that money and give it to somebody who needs it.
You should go ask them, sit down with their finances and see how much they really need.
I would love
actually
to.
go through their books with them.
But I would love to.
I know this guy, and he was dealing with some stuff where all of a sudden massive medical costs had to happen to keep him alive, and also like basically round the clock help.
Yes.
So they were using that money probably to keep him alive.
That's
and to help
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, they probably used it all. I mean, you know that's going to cost a lot of money to have like a live-in nurse and all this stuff. He's probably unfortunately left his loved ones with massive bills from what happened. So I would imagine that they can apply your so generous donation of candy bars to that cost to be able to get by.
See, I felt like my donation was really like already up to that level, and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that I took all that.
What if they give you a little medal or something like that?
No, I would.
Greatest donator of all time.
No, the medal's not going to get. I took that into account. I paid for all the candy bars that now they don't need. I kind of feel like, well, that what are they?
And it's kind of weird that you're using candy bars as an analogy for someone who just died.
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that someone's going to actually get to go on a nice vacation because of my donation. After they take care of all of us. You don't know what I gave?
I don't know what you gave.
That's what I'm saying. My math in my head says that they're going to take care of all their bills.
Maybe keep tabs on their Facebook, and if you see them in Hawaii, you can call them out for it.
I might have, but that's what, because I was thinking
Mai Tai,
long-term.
I paid for that Mai Tai.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I used the candy bars as a simple way to tell you that I paid for a lifetime supply of candy bars. I was thinking, this guy's going to need a lot of help. I want to really give a nice donation because I felt like you said, they're going to have long-term action.
But they didn't know that he was going to die.
I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying now
you should blame them, it sounds like.
Now that they don't need all those candy bars, they should give them back, is all I'm saying.
One person says, I'm with BJ. They're probably just going to gamble the money away anyway.
Dude. Oh, this is horrible. I don't know why.
One person called them live on the air to ask for your money back.
I know that. You know what? I would do that if I was like this radio douche guy, but I really am not. I'm not trying to be a bad guy.
You are. Text, you're confirming that you're a radio douche guy.
Yeah, you are.
One person, you're a heartless bastard.
I'm not. That's
BJ,
why
you're a POS.
I'm asking you people. I'm not saying I'm going to bother them. I'm getting information. You can't be mad at me for asking about information.
I just don't know anyone that would think like that. I appreciate you asking before you reached out to them. That was nice.
Yes, because
I give you a gold star for that, BJ.
I'm pragmatic. If you take away the emotion, my intent is pragmatic. But
this is all emotion. Someone died.
That's why I asked you guys first, because I know emotions involved. Yeah. So I'm not that heartless.
Are you the kind of person that if you go to a party and you bring over some wine and the wine doesn't get drank, do you take it back?
I actually let people, when they come to my party, take their food back because that's how I am.
That's not what I'm asking. Because you make them take it back because you're afraid you'll eat it all. That's why. It's for your own selfish benefit. I'm asking if you go to somebody's house.
To dead man, he probably
look. I know that. Look,
I'm just saying, like,
if I brought you 70 cases of wine, and you, well, this is the
party where you going to.
I'm saying like 5 bottles of wine.
No, to 5 bottles. Vicky, if you're going to use this analogy, I gave more than 5 bottles of wine to a party. I gave like 50 cases of wine to the party.
But you chose to do that.
Did.
Nobody forced you to do that.
But now the party's over and nobody drank. People drank only like half
so what
a
would
case.
have been? How long could?
I would have just.
Okay.
They're going to keep the 50 cases. They don't need them.
Based on your donation, I don't want to ask. I know some people are asking. That's not up to us to know how much you donate. But it sounds like you donated
candy bars.
Candy bars.
Yeah, a lot of candy bars.
So you donated a lot of money. It sounds like. How long would he have had to have lived before you would be upset with donating that much? Doesn't that seem weird?
That's a very good question.
Is it 5 years?
What I'd have to do is we'd have to prorate it. That's all. I would just prorate it. You know, like I mean, that's fair, isn't it? Let's just say a person lived a year, I prorating. All right, you don't have to give me all of it back. I do what the year was. If it was 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, I prorate it. Isn't that fair? So, Vicky, if you told me you're having a party and you have hundreds of people showing up and I buy a bunch of cases of wine to accommodate the hundreds of people and then only 5 people show up to your party, you expect me to let you keep all that wine?
Yeah, I didn't ask you to bring that much wine.
I brought enough wine for 100 people.
Yeah, I didn't say, BJ, you're in charge of the wine. I said, hey, anybody want to bring something? Bring it on.
So I decided, as out of the goodness of my heart, I go, you know what?
Exactly, the goodness of your heart.
Yes.
It's a gift.
And then for you, the goodness of your heart, go, oh my God, BJ over-delivered on this. BJ, I don't need all this wine. I would expect you to give some back.
I'd be on eBay selling that wine.
It's like listeners, Steve says, BJ, it's a donation, not a loan.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. The decent thing for them to do is go, wow, we are super surplus here. We don't need this.
I don't think they're super surplus, though.
Well, that I don't know. You may be right.
I'm positive.
But I know what I did, and I feel like, you know what? I mean, come on.
One person even said, unless you gave 6 figures, you probably you don't have no idea how much expenses they're probably going through.
I gave a lot of candy bars. What do I want me to say?
And that's nice, but what was he in the back of your, like, I don't understand. So you gave all this money and now it's not going to be used the way that you wanted and you're upset. But what was the hope? I mean, I don't understand though, like when you give that kind of money, you should just be happy to help out a family that's dealing with some crap.
I felt like I wanted to help out a guy. And I don't know anybody else in this guy's family but the guy. So,
and now the guy's no longer here.
If I see one of the guy's buddies in Tahiti, I am not happy about that because I know that's my candy bars for that other buddy to be in Tahiti. You know, but I felt like I should help out the guy, but I don't know anybody else in that guy's life. I don't care about them, do I?
Well, maybe in the future when you do that, you should talk to him about his will and say, hey, look, if this goes south quickly, can you please will me back my money?
But I will tell you this. I am having this discussion because I have seen that I am overruled. I will not ask her. I won't even bother them because they're going through a tough time. That's why I ask my friends. Nice of you. Well, ask my friends. If you can't ask your friends,
no, I get it.
What are you supposed to do? It's not like I reached out. I'm using you as my line of defense because I don't always think.
But it sounds like you don't think we're right.
Oh, I don't. But I don't. But I do know this in life. If the majority says that I'm wrong, even if I don't think I am, I know enough to know that I probably am. Even though I don't think so, because the majority rules. So I won't reach out because I've learned that in life. I've learned that.
How would you feel, though, if it was on the flip side? Someone in your family, like let's just say something like one of your immediate family members is going through some massive ailments. You guys created a GoFundMe. People have donated all this money. Unfortunately, someone in your immediate family passes away. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh, I got an email from someone who donated a really nice chunk of change.
You're asking how I would feel?
Yeah, how would you feel if someone's like, hey, man, can I get that money back?
I would completely understand.
You would.
Well, that's right after they passed away.
That's why you're Sheldon.
You see, you understand this is I'm doing it right now. Why wouldn't I understand the other side of that argument?
But wouldn't you think, you son of a bitch, right now I'm dealing with the loss of this person that matters to me, and the first thing you think of is getting your money back?
I'll be honest, it's probably the first thing I would think of is like if my poor wife passes away, I'd be like, oh gosh, Steve gave me all these candy bars. I got to get these back to him. This is not good because I don't want Steve to think I'm some kind of cheat where I'm going to go have parties on his candy bars.
It would never cross my mind.
See, it would cross mine. That would be the first thing I would do. I would say, okay, we got to get my wife buried. And then I would say, by the way, Joe, we got to get Steve's candy bars back. That's just how I am. But I understand that my thinking is nuts here to you guys. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, well, I appreciate you asking me for reaching out.
Yeah, because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I mean, I know it could be sensitive. I still think I'm right. I still think you guys are out of your minds. But I will go with the masses here. I live in a country where the majority rules, and I can deal with that. I mean, because at the end of the day, when I give money away, I know that I'll never get it back. So even though I think I should get this back, I've already planned knowing that I'll never get it back. So it's not going to be a big problem.
Because it was a donation.
I understand that. I still think it's wrong. I think they should realize.
It's not called Go Loan Me. It's called Go Fund Me. It's a donation.
Go Fund Me until all of a sudden I don't need to be funded anymore because the situation's changed. That's just too long of a link. So probably Go Fund Me's better.
So it says BJ is the living embodiment of George Costanza.
Come on! People say that. That's no. All right. Hey, anyway, so we didn't do our thing. We'll have to do it later.
Yeah. I did not realize. I honestly thought you were being a Weisenheimer. I did not realize this is a legit thing. Like, you want your money back. But I'm glad that we talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to hurt the people. So
it would hurt the people.
So I don't want to do that.
So I feel very confident.
So I won't ask for this. That's why I asked you guys. I check with my friends.
Yes.
I still think it's wrong, but I will go with what the people say because I don't want to hurt nobody. But if you still think I'm a douche, I'm sorry. I don't think I'm a douche if I ask my friends and then do what my friends say. I don't think that's douchey.
Okay, one text has a great solution. Just ask them to add sponsored by BJ Shea on the tombstone.
Yeah. No, I don't want that. Yeah. I want my candy bars. I don't care about sponsoring a tombstone. I just want my... But I won't do it.
Okay. It's called Go Fund Me, not Go Fund My Family. That's someone on your side.
Oh, good. See, that person knows what's up. But unfortunately, we're in the losing argument. Danny,
who's we? Danny's on your side?
No, Danny's not. No, Danny put his hands in his face because Danny wants me to give him money. Probably, Danny. What if I got the money back and gave it to you? Now, hey, what if you guys got the money?
I don't want it.
I know you don't because you.
I don't want it.
I don't want your dirty blood.
Yeah, I don't want any. I'll just turn around and send it right back to that family.
Oh, all right. Well, actually, I couldn't argue with that though. I mean, because you get to do that.
I'm glad that we established these rules. See, this is the problem. You didn't establish any rules when you made the donation in the first place.
I know. I mean,
let that be a lesson learned, BJ.
Yeah, exactly. I should really have sent a letter, dear. Boy, that would be a hell of a letter.
Ask to talk to the guy's doctors in the future, and then you can understand what kind of timeline you're working with.
I'm I don't understand why I think the way I do. Everybody hates me, and I think that people are nuts. I don't understand, but my brain is just having a hard time right now. Okay, I have a question for you. What happens when someone complains? Don't laugh. People should not be hating me because I asked you and I will not do it. I obeyed what you said. What human being does that where they think they're right and they still do what other people want them to do?
I think people have a right to judge. If like you came on here and said, hey, I was thinking about murdering Uncle Chris. What do you think?
Oh, that's the question. That's a different thing, though, dude. I have a legitimate, valid point. It doesn't mean it wouldn't be hurtful, but it's a valid point that if I gave money to something thinking it was for one thing, but it turns out they don't need that much money, I don't think it's bad to say that they should think about giving it back if they don't need it. If they do, no problem. I believe they don't need as much as what they got, but if that, you see what I'm saying? What if they got a ton of money that they didn't need for what they now have? Well, then you think it's bad for me to ask for that back?
1 billion% yes.
See, that's where I disagree, but I still will do what you guys ask because there's a lot of variables.
But you skirted the whole whether or not you should kill Uncle Chris, though. I like how you just kind of deflected.
Oh no, that's going to happen. I mean, believe me. I mean, it's just when is really the question, not if. All right, I have a question though. What happens when someone complains about his kid watching the WWE on social media? I'll tell you. Another edition of Facebook Drama, and you're going to hear it at 8:17 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle.
Now, it's time for Facebook Drama!
And Facebook Drama is our opportunity to point out the idiots that are on Facebook, BJ. This is an actual Facebook post. The drama unfolds because of it, and yes, we are going to act it out. So I think before we do it, it's about the WWE's pay-per-view from last night. I just want to give you a little perspective. And it's on Twitter. You can find it. There was a match between Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton. And now Jeff's got those holes in his ears, that way, like with the big gauged earrings.
Oh, right.
Or whatever they're called. I don't know what the hell that actually... But so he doesn't have earrings inside those holes. So it's been like an ongoing thing where Randy will put his finger in his ear and kind of mess with him. But last night he took it to a new level. He grabbed a screwdriver and just kind of like put the screwdriver through the hole, which is kind of funny because it's really just a giant hole with a screwdriver through it.
Oh,
and then just started wrenching it.
Oh,
part of their match in Hell in a Cell.
Oh my God, dude, that's over the top.
So this is a Facebook drama because of that scene in last night's Hell in a Cell on the WWE, and I saw this on my page, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" So playing the role of the original poster, the dad, will be you, BJ. You will be Wade.
All right.
Rev, you'll play the role of Jessica.
Sweet.
And I will play the role of Sean. So once again, Wade is the original poster. So BJ, please take it away.
Hashtag parenting first. I had to pause the WWE show because my son saw Randy Orton using a screwdriver on Jeff Hardy, and it caught his attention. Now, we smartly paused the show and had to have a discussion with him about how dangerous screwdrivers could be if you use them to hurt somebody for real. How about a disclosure, WWE?
Huh? A disclosure?
Yeah, look, I don't really care what they show because I've seen it all. But they need to be smarter here. If these things are going to be that over the top, then they should run a disclosure before the show. Then again, if they ran a disclosure before the show, I didn't see it because I started the show a couple minutes late. So, I mean...
You're just all sorts of stupid, man.
Hey, my kid now thinks a screwdriver can be used as a weapon. They should have said something.
They were beating people with chairs and tables, too. I guess they should have had a disclosure about that.
Why did you put disclosure in quotes?
Because it's disclaimer, you idiot.
Oh, LOL. Come on, but still. He's only 6. He doesn't need to see that.
You know what could have solved the problem?
What?
How about you don't let him watch it?
But I wanted to see it.
I repeat, you are all sorts of stupid, man. Hashtag disclosure.
I second that statement.
Why did I have to play this stupid guy?
I originally wasn't, but after the last segment, I figured I'd make the switch.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
I thought you'd be a perfect Wade.
All right.
I mean, so people are so stupid, man.
Disclosure.
He even
so
said
awesome.
if they did put, let's just say he meant disclaimer.
Yeah.
He said even if they had a disclaimer, I missed it because I tuned in after.
That's
that.
my favorite part of all this. Yeah.
What are you bitching about, man?
Yeah, that is, They need to flash it on the screen like while it's happening, Steve. That's really what they got to do. Here's our disclosure.
And they're wrestling in a giant cage where people are falling off the tops of cages and all that. Like, the big issue is the screwdriver through a giant hole in someone's ear.
Literally called Hell in the Cell.
Listen, my son cannot get access to a giant cage, so I'm fine. But he can get a screwdriver, Steve.
It is funny, though, the reaction on social media about that scene. Because it does look vicious, but when you really boil it down, he just put a screwdriver, which is what, like the width, the girth of a pen.
Yeah.
Girth. Through a giant hole in his ear. It wasn't like he was pulling on it, but he wasn't actually. If he ripped it, now that would have been fantastic.
The hole looks like about the size of a quarter.
Yeah.
And honestly, like when I did have gauges, like it doesn't hurt. Once it's been healed, it doesn't hurt. So have it twisted
pulling
around.
your earlobe.
Yeah.
That's all he's doing.
I'm looking at that. I'm like, that's not hurting him. Like, unless he pulled a little too hard one way and ripped.
Well, then he kind of spun it.
Like, it's not going to hurt. That doesn't. I can't imagine that hurting.
No, but it looks like it hurts.
It does.
Because Jeff's a good seller.
Yeah.
And it does. It makes me think it would hurt. Because I've never had gauges or earrings, so I would think you put that in there, that's going to hurt.
I'm looking on, I would go on Twitter while I'm watching Hell in a Cell because I watch it, and it's just funny seeing people like, make this stop. I'm turning it off. I was like, wow, of all things.
Isn't that something? But you never know what will trigger somebody's like pain receptor things.
Yeah.
Because it's like certain things you go, I don't care. I can watch all the movies in the world where people getting shot up.
Yeah.
But somebody getting kicked in the junk, that for some reason I can feel that more so than somebody getting a bullet in the head.
And it must be something with ears too, because you think about I remember watching Reservoir Dogs and nothing fazed me until the stuck in the middle with you scene, and then you're just like, oh, come on, man, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. You don't need to do that.
Maybe it's universal that our ears, we don't want anybody messing with them.
I think the only thing that really disgusts me is like how bad his finger smelt after touching it. Because if you've ever smelled gauges,
I haven't.
It smells like toe jam. It smells really bad. If you ever dug out your toenails and all that gunk, that's what it smells like.
Okay, we get it, Vicky. Thank you.
Yeah, first of all,
Danny's gonna puke.
I'm here to give you guys
I have never dug out my toenails. Now, maybe a pedicurist has done it once, but I've never done it. I just clip them and hope for the best.
Really bad.
Yeah. All right, great.
You're welcome.
Oh, there you go. It's nice.
I didn't know Miggs' dad was on social media. LOL. My dad's fine with me watching wrestling now. I'm an adult.
Oh, he's okay with it now?
Yes.
Yeah. Until he sees that screwdriver scene, then he's going to want a disclosure.
Disclosure. That was the best part.
I know.
They need a disclosure.
Come on, disclose this to us. It's well, arguably they did, sir. They showed you. They did disclose because they were doing it. Hey, we just received this text. I said, hey, guys, my wife decided she's had enough of our marriage, and I've been kicked out since Friday. I'm kind of weird in this place where I'm glad the struggles are finally over, but a piece of me feels missing. The small things make me smile right now, but the internal struggle still persists. Any word of encouragement? Love your show since the first day I heard of it over 8 years ago. Peace.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Dude, this is so bizarre. This just actually happened.
To who?
I'm playing my game on Saturday night, and all of a sudden I get a phone call from this dude that I have not heard from in years. And so I have it go to voicemail. I just have it go to voicemail. I'm in the middle of doing something.
Right.
And then one of the people...
Does he not know the rules?
Yeah. Well, you're absolutely right. He should. And one of the people gaming said, why wouldn't you get that right now? Why would you just do that? That's so rude. And, of course, I'm saying, because I'm gaming with you. I think it's more rude if I take a phone call. It wasn't my wife, so I know it's not an emergency. I go, somebody I haven't heard from in 3 years. But then it really started weighing on me. So after the game was over, I thought, all right, let me give the guy a call back, and he's going through the very same thing.
And so he reached out to you for a couch to crash on,
I think no, because he's not near me enough to do that. I think he just reached out for an ear, like
just somebody to talk to.
He was looking for some encouragement, I think is what it was, which is odd. He called me because what do I do?
Well, I mean, he must think of your views and opinions as something worth absorbing, and that's quite a compliment to you.
After the last segment, I didn't think you guys would think I had any view that would be worth absorbing, but okay.
Well, I appreciate question this person.
Yeah. So, Steve, what would you say? Do you have anything? Anybody all want to say something to this guy who's had his relationship end? It sounds like the relationship was on the struggle bus, and so even though you don't want it to end, there is a relief to know that it's not going anywhere positive, so it's good that it's over, but you still miss what you thought it was.
Right, because I think a lot of times you start thinking about all the good times when something ends, but you got to kind of remind yourself that, like you said, that he's glad that this struggle is finally over. You're going to find some... I always feel like people, whenever a relationship ends, and maybe this is not all the time, but for the most part, you end up finding someone that's better and more suited for you because you just learned a lot of what not to deal with and what you don't want to put up with. So at the moment, this sucks, and I don't think anything that we're going to say is going to make it suck less because it just sucks. Someone just said they don't want to be with you, but try and keep that in the back of your mind. Why do you want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you? Yeah, that's what I always try. Whenever I broke up or a relationship ended where I wasn't the one who called it, and I get all down in the dumps, and that happens. It's just natural. But I would have to remind myself, why am I pining for someone that doesn't want to be with me? What kind of life do I want to live where I want to be with someone that doesn't want to be with me? I wouldn't do that with my friends. I don't hang out with people that don't want to hang out with me. So why would I want the person that I'm supposed to love be that person that doesn't want to be with me? So again, I don't think anything's going to help right now. It's just you got to ride that storm and just kind of surround yourself with people that care about you.
One of the things I read that really helped me get through a relationship is right now it feels like, you've lost everything, but really it's her because you lost somebody who doesn't care about you and she lost somebody who loved them very, very much. So in all honesty,
that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, it's like you lost somebody that didn't love you and she lost someone that loved her very much. And once time kind of goes by, you're going to see this as like a learning opportunity, and it's going to make you stronger in the long run. It's going to suck for a while, but it's going to get better.
Find girls, have sex with them.
Yes.
Yeah. Watch baseball.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe football.
Okay, yeah.
Because this baseball season's done. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the Mariners would make you feel even worse.
Well, you want to then also think about all the things that you haven't been able to do because of that person and just do them.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes relationships put a strain on just doing things because time commitments.
Or maybe they don't want you to.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, there's a lot of freedom there. Yeah, you know what? I Vicky's perspective, I hadn't even thought about that. That's a nice way to see it. That you know what? Well, she's going through more of a loss than you as far as the kind of quality person in her life. Because to lose someone that loves you, to not have them around anymore, I don't think she's realizing what that means until it hits her. Like, oh, that guy actually did care about me. Damn, and now he's gone.
One person says you're missing the closeness and comfort of a relationship, not necessarily the person. When you find someone who's right for you, then things will be easy the way they should be.
All right.
What do you got for him?
Oh, you want me to give something?
Well, I mean, yeah.
I'm going to say that...
just don't loan him money.
If somebody had a GoFundMe page based on your marriage, now I think you should give some of that back because you're living by yourself. This is I say this and I will continue to say this. This is a huge blow. And... you need to go to somebody and talk this through. It's a huge blow in your life. And guys don't like to talk to anybody, even though we will go get advice for anything on buying things or being mentored by a coach when it comes to sports or by a fitness trainer. We don't do that for our mental stability because we're told that that's weak, but it's not. You're getting training and great expert advice in that area, just like you would in any other area that guys don't have a problem getting advice in. So I would try that because all you can change is your outlook on life. There's nothing you can do. And if you continue to point a finger at somebody going, because they did this, my life is bad, or if they did this, my life would be better, that's never a recipe for success. You've got to be the one that takes control of your life, and whatever happens around you shouldn't affect you. You should be able to make the adjustment if you are healthy in the head. And so I would talk to somebody. That's what I've done.
A couple people suggested that as well.
Yeah.
One person says I'm going through the same thing. Keep your head up. Another person says I'm going through the same thing. A lot of people seem to be dealing with it. Another person says, yeah, this happened to me just recently, and really appreciate what you guys are saying. Thanks a lot. Going through the same thing. But my favorite is things happen for a reason, and then there's Tinder with hot 20-year-old pieces of ass right now around the corner.
And I'm wondering, could I
Tinder it, baby.
Do you think I could say something that I think that, because I think guys can get it, because if you give guys a toolbox and go, guys, this is, if you live your
just
life
not a
this
screwdriver,
way,
especially when wrestling is involved.
Yeah. But there's a lot of problems that happen in our world today when it comes to relationships. I mean, look, you can read the news. I mean, right now, there's one major thing happening politically that's being politicized, and it's based on a horrible thing that if it happened way back in the day based on boy-girl relationships. And I will say this to guys. Guys, if you remember this rule of thumb, you will never, ever suffer if you can do this. It's not an easy thing to do. It's a thing called unconditional love. If you really do love somebody, like Sting says, you'll want them to be happy over them being with you.
Sting the wrestler or Sting the artist?
I think Sting the artist. Okay, now, Sting the wrestler said a lot of great things.
He just hit people with a baseball bat. I wouldn't go with that, bro.
But you know what? Sometimes hitting someone with a baseball bat sends a powerful message.
While yelling, ow!
Yeah, and the owl really shows you. But if you think about it, everybody talks about unconditional love, but the thing is this. If you really love somebody, you put them before you. And I am working my way towards that in my life. Like if my wife called me today and said, look, I don't want to be with you anymore, I'd be like, okay, if this is going to make you happy, I love you. Your happiness goes above my happiness if I truly love you. That's why my wife lives a couple of states away, because it really made me realize, I realized it was better for her to live this way, even though it wasn't great for me. But if I loved her really, I would want her to be happier over me. And it's kind of what a parent knows when they have kids. A parent will give up the body for their kids because it's that kind of love. I want to have that kind of love for my wife and people in my life.
What if that woman's boning another dude? Do you love her so much that you're okay with another man's sausage being used?
Well, I might have to say, I mean, Steve, that is a tough one. Even as a joke, but I would say, I don't want to be with a woman who does this, but I'm not going to keep you from boning this other guy. I'm just going to leave.
Here's some condoms.
Yeah. I mean, because
best of luck to you.
And I'll tell you, the more I think that way, I never get hurt because I'm the one choosing to go, I know what love is, which means I'm never going to get butthurt if you leave me because I love you and I want you to be happy. It's a tough way to go.
Doesn't that feel robotic? I mean, because you say that, still, you're going to have emotions. You're still going to feel hurt.
Yes. But I also will be able to at least find solace in the fact that, you know what, if I think of somebody else besides myself, which, by the way, Steve, is the basis for many religions, think of something bigger than yourself.
Right.
You're really doing good for the world. And a lot of crap that happens in the world would stop happening if people didn't just think of themselves and thought, well, if I truly love somebody, I wouldn't let my butt hurt actually get in the way of them. It would really do a lot of healing in the world. It's not an easy thing to do, but that's where I'm trying to go. And I think it would make the world a better place if we could all get there. But, there you go.
One person says, that's how I got my first tattoo. My ex told me I couldn't get one. So when the relationship ended, I got that tattoo I wanted. Now I'm in a great relationship. Lesson learned.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Good call. All right.
If they got on their butt, then they got butt hurt too for different reasons. Good luck, sir. I hope nothing but the best for you.
Really,
relationships and life.
I thought the first piece of advice you gave was really bad. Finally, you came up with something that was helpful.
It's worse, yes.
Yeah, good
Thank
job.
You.
All right, on Friday, Steve, he got this one wrong.
What is the capital of Sweden?
Swedish chef.
No.
Swamp. Sweetland. No. Sweetland. Lowland. No.
No, Steve. The correct answer is Stockholm. Come on, buddy. You got some sort of syndrome?
Apparently. I work with you.
Yeah, that's a fact, actually. That would probably translate very like
He's a good guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just misunderstood.
Yeah, that's it. You want a shot at beating Steve? 206-421-ROCK. We're playing Beat Migs. 847 on The Rock.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. He's here right now and has agreed to answer more of your questions about bankruptcy. Here's a question from a listener. My house is currently in foreclosure. I've stopped making payments. What can I do to save my house?
If you're already in foreclosure behind on your mortgage, you can stop the foreclosure by filing a bankruptcy. There's different types of bankruptcy. Chapter 13 can help you catch up on your house payments if you're behind. It would mean that you'd have to start making your house payments again and catch up on the amount that you're behind over 5 years. You could also take off or strip off your second mortgage, which would help you to reduce your housing payment every month, especially once you're done with the plan and done catching up on your first mortgage. We could also try to buy you some time by filing a Chapter 13 case. Filing a Chapter 13 would definitely stop your foreclosure.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com. And thanks for listening.
Love sports? Love culture? Well, I've got a brand new podcast called Take Line from Crooked Media, hosted by me, Jason Concepcion, and two-time WNBA champion Renee Montgomery. From the games to the players to the issues happening both on and off the court, we'll be tackling the important political and social issues happening in sports head on. New episodes drop every Tuesday, so follow and subscribe on radio.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.